Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Today we shall be learning entrepreneurial culture in our lesson 3. I'm Sylvester Odundo from Friends College Kaimosi. My email address is odundosylvester54@gmail.com. My number is 0706 248 870. Ladies and gentlemen, we want to first define what culture is, and we can define it as the ideas, customs, and social behavior of a particular people in a particular society. What of entrepreneurial culture? This can be defined as a system of shared values, beliefs, and norms of members of an organization or a community. And in this case, we may include such aspects as valuing creativity and tolerance of creative people, to believing that innovating and seizing market opportunities are appropriate behaviors to deal with in the areas A of problems of survival and prosperity, B environmental uncertainty and competitors threats, C expecting the community and organization members and to behave accordingly. So we can say in general that entrepreneurial culture will lead to the growth of trade and industry in a particular country. Now let's look at the concept of entrepreneurial culture. And it is very important for you to note that culture encompasses a wide variety of elements, such as values, such as norms, and artifacts. So these are dependent on language, social situations, religion, political philosophy, economic philosophy, education, manners, and customs. So we want to look at each and every one of them, and let's start with values. So when we're talking about values, we are talking about ideas about what is important in life and guide the rest, that which guides the rest of the society. Let's look at the norms. When we're talking about the norms, we're talking about expectations of how people will behave in different situations. Each culture has different methods called sanctions of enforcing particular norms in a particular society. Now, when we're talking about sanctions, they vary with the importance of the norm. And norms that society enforces formally are called laws. Now, the last bit is the artifacts. And when we're talking about artifacts, we are talking about the material culture derived from the cultural values and norms. So remember, when we're talking about culture, we have non-material and material. Now, the material culture is that which is tangible, that which you can be able to see. Like for instance, if you get into a Hindu temple, you will find that there is a lot of carvings that has been done, a lot of craft work that has been done just to make sure that their culture is preserved. And in this case, the example that I've given, the picture that you can be able to see there, we have quite a lot of necklaces and so many things that we can be able to connect it to a particular culture. In Kenya, for instance, in that particular picture we are seeing, we can easily direct that or pinpoint at the culture which is that of Maasai or the Samburus in Kenya. So generally we can say that culture is dynamic. Cultural change, therefore, can be caused by environmental inventions and other internal influences and contact with other cultures. Ladies and gentlemen, what are the entrepreneurial culture elements? What are those elements of this culture in the circles of entrepreneur? One, people are empowerment focused. Now, this is very important for you to understand that they are looking at how they can be able to empower a society wholesomely. Two, they value creation through innovation and change. They don't just look at a product in the face value. They want to look at it in the future of how they can make it better through creative ideas and making it more useful and suitable to the consumer. They are attentive to basics and to detail. Now, it is very important for you to know that this element encompasses the aspect of you being very keen to the little things that people assume to be obvious. Then hands-on management is another aspect. And in this case, we are saying this element is all about putting hands onto the work, not just supervising, but actual doing the stuff that you're supposed to do. Also, we are talking about doing the right thing. And in other words, we are saying efficiency. When you do the right thing, you are efficient. When you do the things right, then you are effective. So what we are talking about here is that one of the other element is efficiency, so that the output can be able to match the input, and more above it, the turnover can be handsome. We're also talking about freedom to grow and to fail without embarrassment. Now, I want you to recollect you to the earlier discussions that we had, that people will end up fearing to enter into entrepreneurial ventures because they fear that they will fail. So one of the culture that you want to emphasize here is that there is freedom to grow, and there is no failure. There is no fear of failure. And even if somebody fails, he doesn't feel embarrassed. We also want to talk about commitment and personal responsibility. This element is very important to be exhibited by entrepreneurs. They are committed to what they believe is right, and they have responsibility, personal responsibility to the duties and whatever they do. They always agree. If it goes way higher, way wide, they can be able to take it as a responsibility, and they don't run away from a responsibility. And lastly, we are saying that they emphasize on the future. They are future-oriented kinds of people. They look at how tomorrow is going to be better. They are looking at a glass full empty, not half empty. I mean, sorry. They are looking at a glass half full, not half empty. There are kinds of people that are very optimistic, so they exercise optimism in whatever they do. Ladies and gentlemen, we also want to talk about the habits that promote entrepreneurial development. Now, when we are talking about habits, we are just saying those things that they practice regularly. And one is independence. So when we are talking about independence, when you look at that picture, you're seeing that there is a guy that is very independent on the far down side of the seesaw. So these guys are very independent. They think of how they can be able to come up with decisions independently. They will always gather information. They will get advice from other people. But when it comes to decision making, they are very independent. Then we have time consciousness. They are always worried of time. Time wasted will never be recovered. That is their mantra. They always want to look at how they can be able to make maximum use of the little time resource that they have. They are direct or personal involvement. They involve themselves directly. Now, what you can be able to see there in the diagram, it is actually self-explanatory. So they give themselves into the duty. They give themselves to the work that they're supposed to do. And that is one other habit of entrepreneurs. So you are seeing that they are running just to make sure that whatever the task that is ahead of them is accomplished. Then these people are risk takers. They dive. They make crazy risks. They are the kinds of people that when there is a decision to be made, they will not dilly-dally. They don't think too much, and they are not worried of making wrong. They dive into the danger zone and make that which is dreadful decisions. Then when we talk about family history, we are saying that depending on the family that you come from, it might promote you to be an entrepreneur. You can imagine if you're a family member of an Indian kind of a group which has a lot of businesses, you end up being encouraged or sensitized. You'll be agitated to start something so that at least you can be part and parcel and conform to the whims of that family. When we are talking about decisions, we are saying that there are kinds of people that make decisions, very radical decisions. Now, this decision-making process is a habit that can be able to promote entrepreneurial development. So many people fear to make decisions, but entrepreneurs don't fear to make decisions. Sometimes these decisions might be very risky, but they are ready to make these decisions. So that is one other habit that they exhibit. Now, we understand that humans are not an island. They cannot survive on themselves alone, and therefore they relate with others. They interact with others. They bring brains together. They pool resources together just to make sure that their endeavor it is achieved and succeeds. Then another habit of entrepreneurs is that they are always willing to fail. They actually regard failure as a stepping stone to greater success in the future. So they can throw as many arrows as possible, but at the last of the day, they are the persons that will be laughing, because when they hit the jackpot, it actually overflows with greater rewards. So let's talk about factors that inhibit entrepreneurial development. And the first factor is poor or lack of business acumen. Now, we understand that it is not all people that have business acumen. There are people that have Midas touch. When they just touch on something business or business related, that business catch up and actually it flourishes. So lack of business acumen is very it actually inhibits entrepreneurial development. Then poor marketing techniques. There are different techniques of marketing. If it happens that an entrepreneur employs a marketing strategy which is not conversant with the masses, then at the end of the day, the marketing strategy might flop, and therefore entrepreneurial development might be a failure. Poor pricing policy or poor casting is also another factor. If there is poor pricing policy that is regulated by the government, then at the end of the day, you expect that you might end up having losses. Like for instance, if the cost of production of maize has been maybe 100, and you end up selling your bag of maize at a loss just because the government has decreed that this should be the pricing policy of maize, then it will lead you into losses, and at the end of the day, the entrepreneurial venture is going to be a flop. Poor networking and benchmarking to expand business horizon or customer base is also another inhibitor. You need to network. Networking is powerful. In the process of networking, you get a lot of people that get to know what you're doing, then your business will expand and productivity is expected. Negative attitude towards entrepreneurial culture is another problem. People have negative attitude towards entrepreneurial culture. Depending on a particular society, there are people that will value businessmen as con men. And because of that, the negative attitude will end up inhibiting you, young people or youths, to enter into entrepreneurial ventures. And at the end of the day, it causes or inhibits entrepreneurial development. Lack of achievement or motivation. If you are not motivated, if there is nothing that comes out in forms of rewards, then at the end of the day, it will be very hard for you to enter into entrepreneurial ventures. And at the end of the day, the development, entrepreneurial development, is greatly affected negatively. Poor delegation due to belief of self-righteousness, confidence, or lack of trust in other people. Ladies and gentlemen, it is not possible that you can do all the works of a business, you yourself. You need to delegate some duties. You need to delegate some duties to the financiers or accountants. You need to delegate some of the duties to the procurement officers. You need to delegate some of the duties to the supervisors, so that the entrepreneurial venture can be able to succeed. So if you have poor delegation skills, then at the end of the day, the entrepreneurial venture might end up flopping or not doing well. Inability to uphold new technology, ideas, or practices. Ladies and gentlemen, we are in an era where technology is on the rise. Things are turning around, not to be the way we used to know them. You can buy your clothes or your boots or whatever that it is from the internet. Things have been changed just because of the new technologies that is available. We need to think of how we can be able to use WhatsApp, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, and all these other social medias, so that we can be able to catch up with the technology in the areas of marketing, in the areas of making our products being aware into the segments of the market worldwide. Lastly, we can say that another factor that inhibits entrepreneurial development is failure to utilize time effectively. Time management is an aspect that is very important. If you cannot be able to utilize your time, the little resource that you have, then of course you are planning to fail, and that becomes a big inhibitor. Yeah, so what are the ways that we can be able to manage factors that inhibit development of entrepreneurial culture? One is relevant training to gain skills and experiences. We need to go for workshops. We need to go for forums where we can be able to be imparted knowledge in the area of entrepreneurs. It is not enough. The education that you are getting is not enough. You need to get together with other entrepreneurs so that you can be able to brainstorm on issues or problems that are affecting entrepreneurs. And in so doing, you'll be able to improve the capital base of knowledge in the area of businesses. Ability to apply marketing, research, promotion, and publicity is very important. People or customers will get to know your products in the market through marketing strategies. It can be through media, it can be through newspapers, it can be through radios, it can be through word of mouth. You can go even to the marketplace with a megaphone and shout out the products that you're selling, and in so doing, you can be able to reach out to quite a number of people, and in so doing, you can be able to increase your capital base in terms of consumers that will be willing to come and buy your products or services. Another thing is employing people with right qualification. Don't look for quacks, my brothers. Look for people with right qualification. If it is a farm, look for agriculturists that understand what a farm is. Look for animal productionists that can be able to improve productivity. Those that understand animal husbandry. And in so doing, you can be able to improve on the efficiency and the effectiveness of whatever that is it that you're putting as an input, so that at the end of the day, you can be able to get an output which is commensurate with the effort that you've put into the business venture. Upholding social networking, joining business groups like the Chamber of Commerce and business associations in order to expand business horizon, customer base, and markets. You need to go out, do golfing, meet other businessmen. Go out, sometimes even in social places like bars or in other places where you can be able to meet like-minded people. You can be able to network with these people. And actually, in so doing, you learn that other people are doing these other things, and you can be able to network, you can be able to pull resources, you can be able to have a joint, so that at the end of the day, you can be able to actually create a larger market base. And actually, it is through this networking that you can also be able to expand your business to other places outside the country. Number 5, inculcate entrepreneurial culture and have positive attitude outlook towards entrepreneurial activity. This story of a boring entrepreneurial culture, like societies which do not embrace people that have entered into business, they call them as thieves. That is not right. We need to encourage, promote positive attitude outlook towards entrepreneurial activity and benefits. Then we are also saying employ qualified, experienced workers. It is not only right qualification, but also experienced workers, and delegate responsibility, and also encourage teamwork and team spirit. My brothers and sisters, if you decide that you're going to do all the works in a particular enterprise, you and you alone, you'll end up being exhausted. You'll be stressed. You need to delegate duties. Those that cannot be that can be done with other people, you need to delegate, and you will always have ample time to make decisions and do networkings and other stuff that require your direction. Number 7, we are saying train workers in appropriate technology use and innovative ways and practices. Don't assume that everyone knows how to use a computer. There are people that when you ask them what a mouse is in a computer, they will bring you a rat because they have never heard about a mouse. Don't assume that these people know how to use WhatsApp. Don't assume that these people know how to use Facebook. You need to do refresher training. You need to have trainings for these people so that they can be able to help you market your products. And lastly, we are saying you need to manage your time effectively by working within blocks of time. You can also be trained in time management and time valuation so that you can be effective in whatever that you do. Remember, time is money. Thank you for subscribing, and please keep on sharing this information, very useful material, to others. And we have come to the end of our session today. It is a big thank you. Bye for now.